That's why at times when I listen to Peter Obi and he's talking of saying we have to go by rule of law, we have to go by rule of law. Mr. Peter Obi, there's no longer rule of law in Nigeria. It doesn't exist anymore. So we have to take this thing, take the bull by the horn. So hello everyone, I hope this video meets you well. So on my last video, I talked about how you need to be selfish in order to, be able to save some money. And when I mean selfish, I don't mean, in a bad way. I mean, think about yourself first. Irrespective of what people think about you, just always remember, you are always the first in line. You can't satisfy everybody. There are so many people, whatever you do, while some people are happy with you, there will be some that will not be happy with you. But the most important thing, think about your own conscience. If your conscience tells you that what you are doing is right, then kick on, okay? So that's the video I did last. And whatever you are going to do, you have to start putting some money away for the rainy days. There are so many things that we all might want to do or we always want to do. But I promise you, you can always put some money away if you really want to, okay? No matter how small, you can always do that. So that's on my last video. And like you all, if you have been following me, you will know that I'm passionate about Africa. I'm passionate about Nigeria in particular, being back to what it's meant to be, giant of Africa. And like most people know, they call Nigeria giants of Africa. Yes, that's true. Do you want to talk about the size? Do you want to talk about the opportunity? Even though we have not harnessed that opportunity to where not anywhere near what we are supposed to have done. But yes, whether you agree or disagree, like it or did not like it, Nigeria is giant of Africa. But unfortunately, as we speak today, Nigeria is still a dwarf, or Nigeria is still squatting down. We are just waiting for it to stand up. And that's when people will realize that Nigeria is giant of Africa. So I'm very, very passionate about Nigeria, and I am 100%. I have that 100% belief that Nigeria very, very soon is going to change for the good. So for most of us in diaspora, like I always said, in my last video, I talked about try and get a land. If you have traveled in the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, don't just condemn Nigeria completely. Try and get a land. I'm not asking you to build or to have a structure on that land for now. I'm just saying get a land in a decent place that you know that at the moment it might not be in an area that is properly developed, because you might not have that money to buy such land. But there are places that you can buy that in the next 5 years to 10 years, that your land can be a source of huge income. So that is why I encourage people, those in diaspora, I encourage you to buy a land. And if you are going to build a structure on your land, I'm not saying those that have built massive structures, but unfortunately are still abroad for the past 8 years. Some people have finished their house in the last 8, 10 years, and they only live there probably 10 times. And that is not good enough. So if you are abroad and you are working your backside out and you are thinking about your retirement age and you are thinking you need to go back home and settle down, believe you me, whatever you put down now, in the next 10 years, that thing would be outdated. New structures, new designs, new everything will come on board. And you will look at that house and you'll be wondering why in the first place did I start it? So my advice to people is get a land, secure that land, fence it, leave it there. And when it's close to that time that you feel that definitely you are going back home, then you can use some of your savings and then build that modern house that is happening at that time. Do you understand? Things change every day. If you build house now, by 2030, you look at the house and think, maybe I shouldn't have built it. I want to sell it and build a new one. So buy that land. That land will continue to appreciate. And if you get to a point where you have decided or Nigeria refused to fix or get better, you can sell that land off. It's still good enough and it would have appreciated at that time. So that is joining what I'm saying today to the last video. Because you never know. There was a time in early 80s or late 70s and early 80s. If you are in your 40s and 50s and probably 60s, you will identify or remember that in every compound in Nigeria, or most compound in Nigeria, I don't know about the South because I was in the North at that time. In our compound, I think we had more than 8 Ghanaians. They all squat in 2 rooms, and some of them are doing cobblers and people that pack your dirt and stuff like that. Some of them had very, very reasonable jobs like teaching, working in factories. I know one that works in post office. But at that time, Ghanaians were just trooping to Nigeria because Ghana was terrible at that time. It's just like what is happening in Nigeria today. Ghana was terrible. People could not feed until Jerry Rawlings come in and cleared all those people that have destroyed Ghana. Until Shehu Shagari decided that we've had enough. Ghanaians are taking our jobs, they are taking everything, they are not allowing our economy to go, things are happening. And Shagari decided that Ghana must go. Ghanaians must go back to Ghana. And that was, if you are hearing Ghana must go, that is what happened. You see them in their thousands being chased out of Nigeria. No disrespect to my Ghanaian brothers. They are being chased because you see them with their Ghana must go. At that time, Ghana, the Ghana must go bag was how it got its name, because that is the cheapest bags that the Ghanaians can get at that time to put together everything they can put together. And they were traveling back to Ghana in drones, because this is not a situation of if you like. This is a situation of Ghanaians must go. You can see how many Nigerians are in Ghana. So the coin has turned. Today, Nigeria is in trouble and Nigerians are in Ghana. And you can see how the Ghanaians are treating the Nigerians. So anything can happen. That is why I keep saying, don't give up on Nigeria. Don't give up on Africa. If you come from wherever you come, Congo, Cameroon, Zaire, wherever, it doesn't matter. Don't give up on your homeland, because you never know. You might have to go back there at some point. Remember the China today, that everybody is going to China and borrowing money. All African countries, if they did not go to China, they are to borrow money. They are not okay. China is as worst as Nigeria. Nothing was working. At some point, you can't even have female child. They don't want continuous additional reproduction. They had to put a stop to it because it was that bad. Nigeria has not gotten to that stage. But what I'm saying is today, China, look at where they are. They are actually, fighting the space of a superpower with America. So don't say things cannot change. That is why I'm preparing your mind that if things change, at least, even if you are not fully ready, you are half ready. If every single one of us will have to run out of Africa, there will be nobody back home to fight for those resources that our generation and the coming generation can actually benefit from. So it will just end up in the hands of all these criminals. And these criminals are doing what they are doing today just to make sure that they chase everyone out because it benefits them. But we will not agree to that. And that is why I always said it. I have a passion for Africa. I have passion for Nigeria. And whatever it's going to take, I will give it. And that is why I always call on you, lovely people, not to forget home, because your contribution is going to be part of what is going to get Africa, or Nigeria in particular, out of the situation that we are in. And the day Nigeria becomes the superpower that it can become, Africans, rather than depending on Western world, will depend on Africa. And Nigeria can be that big brother. And that is why I always have that passion for Nigeria. Okay? So we have these leaders. You will always think that something is going to be right in Nigeria. How can you have oil? Everywhere you go, everywhere you dig, there's oil. But yet, you have no refinery. 4 refineries we had in the past. But the reason why our refineries are not working are because some corrupt former leaders have ganged up or sell the oil wealth to some people. And it's not just selling that. We sell all our oil outside, and then we re-import them back into the country at a cost, at a high cost. And these same people, apart from the oil that we import back into Nigeria, there are certain groups of people in Nigeria that do nothing but import petrol. Did you know what is happening today? So all of a sudden, these people made sure that our refineries don't work so that they can continue to import petrol. And then Dangote came on stream. So with all the high hopes of Dangote, Dangote himself on live national telly said it, that his refinery is big enough to handle all the requirement of Nigeria and even export. And all he needs is the crude. You are all aware of the back and forth of all the crude issue. As I'm speaking to you now, there are vessels of imported crude, refined petrol approaching Lagos, approaching Nigeria. So what is Dangote there for? Why are we happy that we have Dangote when still some people are still importing from Mauritius? So you can see how these Nigerian criminals are still making sure that whatever we do, those 4 refineries will not work. The Dangote one, they will still make sure that despite Dangote said he can, all the requirement we need, he can do more than that. Yet, some people are still importing fuel. And that is the reason why they continue to increase the price of fuel, so that when those importation comes, it will benefit those importers of that petrol. And then who are those suffering or are going to suffer? Is the Nigerian people. Petrol has been increased to 1,030 naira officially by NMPC. Because as I speak to you, everything that cost 100 between last night or yesterday and today with this increment has doubled. Everything has doubled. And those to suffer are the Nigerian people, not these leaders. Because if petrol costs 10,000 per liters, most of them are stolen so much that they don't even realize. They don't even go to the petrol station, not alone buy, to even know that, wow, I'm spending so much money on petrol. They've got the money. They've stole Nigeria dry. But the good news is that you and I, we still have to be the one to take us out of this madness. And like I always advise everyone on my videos, it is very, very possible. We just need to have the courage. Like these people does not have the political will to stop all this madness. We, the Nigerian people, until we rise up one day and take Nigeria back from these criminals by revolting in a big way or coming out to elect someone who is willing to put his life on the line in order to stop all this madness. Our Constitution says that whatever the Supreme Court says, it's final. But yet, Supreme Court will say one thing, another court will say another thing. And we say we are being governed by rule of law. There's no rule of law in Nigeria anymore. We have to break it down and then reassemble it with all the things that we need. That's why at times when I listen to Peter Obi and he's talking of saying we have to go by rule of law, we have to go by rule of law. Mr. Peter Obi, there's no longer rule of law in Nigeria. It doesn't exist anymore. So we have to take this thing, take the bull by the horn, and then start exercising the kind of country we need for our children and our children's generations to come after we have long gone. But you just have to input one way or the other and see how we can move Nigeria forward. So don't give up on Nigeria. Don't give up on Africa. Don't give up from wherever you come, or you've gone out, or you've run out, or you've escaped, or you went to study. Believe you me, there's a lot about Africa that you can still benefit from. And we just have to come together and understand that we are all being afflicted by the same thing. And I'm sure at the end of the day, we will have a country that we can all be proud of. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate you stopping by. Please consider to subscribe to this channel. We need an army of courageous people in order to get our country back. And it is very, very possible, but we have to make sacrifices. I'll see you on my next video.